Hello, everyone. My name is John Wowack. I'm the COO here at Superman Compliance Services. Today, we have Jason Owasco, a member of our management team here at Superman, with us to discuss the current landscape of regulatory exams. Although the detail of exams may vary depending on the complexity of your strategy, products, and retail investor exposure, we see a variance also due to the people assigned to the exam team, office location, and sometimes the direct experience of the examiners themselves. Being a compliance consultant has allowed us to interface this past year with many different exam teams and regulators. We have identified a few important items that may impact your perception of the current regulatory environment. The elephant in the room, and a series of questions we get asked by prospective clients, is how are regulatory exams affected by the pandemic? Jason, what have we seen in regards to examinations during the past 10 months or so?
Thanks, John. Well, right off the bat, I would say the one thing we haven't seen is any slowdown in activity. The exams have continued largely unabated by the pandemic. Obviously, the landscape has shifted a bit in that there aren't any on-site visits currently, but there have been an uptick in conference calls with examiners that we've seen. Which has actually helped out with some additional transparency in the exam. So there has been that level of positive result. We've had a few exams that started prior to the pandemic that really continued without a blip, and a few that started literally on the day that Pennsylvania was shut down. We had one announced. So really no significant impact on a day-to-day basis on how the exams are run.
Great, thanks. So, Jason, have we seen or our consulting team seen anything from the examiners with adjustments for timing or accommodations made because of the remote work environment?
We have, John. All the exams that we've been going through since the pandemic started, we've seen flexibility and accommodation from the examiners in terms of deadlines, both in terms of document productions and responses to deficiency letters. So I think our registrants have been appreciative of the fact that there has been a little flexibility given the weird circumstances that we're all living under.
Thanks. That's good to hear that at least they have some understanding during this remote work environment. With our deep experience in seeing about 10 to 12 exams per year for our clients, is there any topic, Jason, that has stood out that our clients may not be focused on?
Well, I hope all of our clients are always focused on this, but it's a good idea to highlight it now. Fees being charged to investors are always a key focus of any regulatory exam. And we've seen that highlighted, I think, during the pandemic as the idea of investor protection really has become as important or more important than ever. Specifically, we've seen a focus on a look back for clients who terminated their relationship during a billing period and were charged up front. The regulators are expecting to see registrants go back and refund any fees charged for that period. So if you're a registrant that does charge upfront rather than in arrears, you should be aware that the regulators will want to see that you're going back and reimbursing your clients for any fees paid.
So, Jason, on the enforcement side of things, are we seeing any trends that relate to this look back approach from the regulators?
We are, John. Very recently, we have seen matters referred to enforcement in the area of valuation, and not what you'd expect, maybe. Of course, all of our clients and all registrants should be sure to follow their policies and procedures as it pertains to valuation, and that's great. If you're not following them, obviously that's a problem. But even if you are, what we've seen recently is examiners wanting clients to take a look back, given current facts and circumstances, to confirm that the valuation that they arrived at was reasonable. So it's almost like a hindsight situation to do a reconsideration of your valuation efforts to make sure that they're still reasonable. And that's a tough standard to follow, we think. And it'll be interesting to see where some of these cases come out in these look back situations.
So, Jason, by knowing that now, what advice, if I was your client, would you give me on making sure that I'm covered from this look back approach of the SEC? or other examiners?
That's a great question, John. I think all you can really do is go back, look at what you've done in terms of valuation or even due diligence. Make sure your efforts have been well documented. And as you do a current look back to determine reasonableness, document that review as well. So at least you can demonstrate that you've made an effort to confirm that your actions were reasonable.
So now that we've seen the changes at FINRA and their structure come out into the field, and with the change at the top at the SEC at the end of this year, what do you see for 2021 as far as the regulatory bodies that govern most of our clients?
Well, I think the obvious answer is that it's not getting any lighter. With the Democratic administration in place, I think the general consensus is that things are going to toughen up. That may mean more frequent examinations and potentially more frequent referrals to enforcement. That's sort of been the way it's played out over the past few terms of administrations, and that shouldn't change going forward into 2021.
Great, thanks. That's very helpful. I think a lot of people thought with Trump and the Republican coming in, it would be lightened, and we sort of anticipated that, and it was the exact opposite. So we fully believe that it will be trending in that direction into 2021.